Back in session at 15:47. Mr. Russo?
Yes, sir. Next witness has already been sworn in.
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Would you please state your name for the record?
Josephine Juarez,
What is your current position?
Assistant Principal at the Judson Early College Academy.
Have you ever,
Josephine Juarez, Judson Early College Academy.
have you ever been employed at Metzger Middle School?
Yes.
What was your position at Metzger?
I started as the mathematics instructional coach, the academic dean, and then the assistant principal.
What were your duties as assistant principal?
Supervising staff, student safety, making sure that students cleared the hallways, getting to class, speaking with parents, dealing with supervisory issues with staff.
How long were you assistant principal at Metzger?
1 year.
Do you know Carolyn Ross?
Yes.
Did you ever come to have a concern about candy being sold during the school day at Metzger Middle School?
Yes.
What can you tell us about that?
When it came to my attention that coaches were selling candy during the school day, I was concerned about just the federal nutrition guidelines that said that we couldn't sell candy during the school day. It was my understanding at the time that it was 30 minutes before and 30 minutes after the last snack that's served at the end of the day. So I did bring the concern to Ms. Ross's attention.
What was her response?
Basically, she told me it was her campus.
It was her campus?
Yes.
Were you aware of a Bible study program being conducted at Metzger Middle School?
Yes.
What can you tell us about that program?
It was before school on Fridays. Students were supposed to be released by 8 a.m.
Did an adult from outside the district lead the program?
I believe so, yes.
Did that Bible study program cause any problems?
Yes, it caused problems with attendance during first period.
What kind of problems?
Students were marked tardy or absent because teachers weren't aware that they were still in the Bible study that ran past the beginning of first period.
Did any teachers communicate to you any of their concerns about the students that were attending the Bible study?
Yes.
Who?
Charles Castillo, Sharon Stewart Thompson, and Anita Croft were 3.
Did you ever get emails from any of those teachers?
Yes, I did.
Are the emails marked and admitted as Exhibits 26, 27, and 28? Copies of those emails that are in that notebook in front of you? Again, that's 26, 27, and 28.
Yes.
In Exhibit 28, Mrs. Ross responds by saying, "We will take care of that." Did the tardiness problems involving the Bible study continue after April 10, 2015?
I cannot recall.
Did you ever send an email to Ms. Ross about special ed teachers needing to have campus-wide access and euphoria?
Yes.
Euphoria, I'm sorry.
Yes.
What was Ms. Ross's response?
She said that it needed to be emailed from her account and to call her for the password.
To call Ms. Ross for her password?
Yes.
Pass the witness.
The emails that you got, were they like a month apart?
No, they're several months apart.
Okay. So you got 3 emails several months apart regarding the inspirational activities on the campus. Is that fair to say?
No.
Did you get some more?
No, the emails weren't about the activity. The email was about the tardy situation and the attendance situation.
So you had concern about tardiness several months apart
And attendance.
and attendance.
Mhm.
All right. You're saying that when you say attendance, you mean they wouldn't go to class at all? Or
No.
they were late?
They were marked absent.
Or because after a certain amount of minutes, you're marked absent?
Yes.
And when Miss and when you brought it up with Ms. Ross, she said she'd take care of it,
Yes.
and did she?
No, because it continued all the way through April.
Okay. And when you say all the way through April, you got one more email from what period of time till then?
From
What was the last email you had before April?
before April was February, and before February was December.
Okay. So 2 months went by, and either the problem was taken care of and then it flared back up, or what happened?
Or there just may not have been an email sent to me.
Email from Ms. Ross?
No, an email from teachers with the concern.
Okay. So they didn't send, so if you didn't get one, that meant, to you, that meant even though you didn't get one, there might have been some complaints?
It's very possible. There's no way I would know that for certain.
Or if you didn't get any, there were no complaints?
I can't say that for certain.
But you could say maybe the other way.
I could
I
say
don't
maybe
understand.
either way.
Okay, all right. Yes. I was just interested in the timing between those things. They either, so it's half full or half empty. Either there weren't any problems from February to April, or there were, but you didn't get any emails.
I believe what you're saying is that there weren't any documented emails sent to me about the problem. It doesn't mean that the problem didn't exist.
Or it also doesn't mean that the problem didn't exist.
That's quite possible, but I can't say either way for certain.
Okay. But you're not willing to say that the fact that you didn't get any emails would indicate that the problem had been solved?
To the best of my knowledge, the problem had not been solved,
Okay. And how was your knowledge based on?
because we were still making announcements saying, do not mark the students absent or tardy.
Okay.
There's no email of that.
And do you have a recollection of how often that happened?
No, but it happened more than once for certain.
If it happened twice?
Probably more than that.
And the activity that the children were involved in was called inspirational.
Originally, it was called Bible study. I suppose there was some type of concern because then the name was changed to inspirational.
Okay. And in terms of, other than disrupting the starting times, did it have, what kind of effect did that have on the students that participated?
None that I'm aware of.
Okay. All right. They weren't, nobody showed up late for class and started problems, to your knowledge?
Only the problems as indicated in the
Being late.
emails about being late and causing disruption in the hallway.
Yeah. Okay. But not disruption in the classroom?
That I couldn't say. We had a lot of classrooms.
Okay. But it says disruption in the hallway. I'm saying, they didn't say disruption in the classroom.
That particular person did not. Whether or not there was a disruption in the classroom, I can't say
We
for
don't have to
certain.
speculate. I'm asking you a direct question based upon the emails that you received.
Correct. I'm giving you a direct answer based on the email.
How often did Mr. Coker, is that his name?
No, I don't know his name. I just recognized him when I saw him. I don't know how he came to come onto our campus.
Okay, all right. Did you ever report him to anybody?
For what purpose?
For any purpose? Did you ever report to anybody else that you didn't know why this man was on the campus?
No, he had a visitor badge, and so that means he had been cleared through the front office.
And he was there for, the purpose that he was there for was to try to inspire the kids?
I don't know. I wasn't in any of his sessions.
All right. But you knew that it was called Bible study and they changed it to inspiration.
Correct.
And if somebody is there conducting an inspirational class, would it be assumed that they think that they're there to inspire the kids?
I would not want to make an assumption.
Well, why not?
I wasn't in there. I can't provide you any facts regarding that. I wasn't
I'm
there.
asking you, if someone appears on your campus.
Yes, you're asking me to make
head
an assumption.
Inspirational?
Mhm. You're asking me to make an assumption. I'm not comfortable with doing that.
Okay. Well, I don't want you to be uncomfortable.
Thank you.
Where are you now? You at the early college?
I'm at the Early College Academy, yes.
Okay. Is that like the middle colleges, or do you know anything about the other?
I don't know what middle colleges are.
Okay, all right. They have them in Dallas and all right.
I'm not familiar with
All
those.
right. What is the ratio of administrators of Hispanic descent at your place?
I'm going to object. That's absolutely,
I'm not going to allow that, sir. I mean, Judson Early College Academy is a very different academy. Race is not going to get in this, I'm not going to entertain that, sir. That's an inappropriate question.
Let me ask you an appropriate question. I asked her where she is. I was trying to.
No,
look,
you
I was
asked
gonna
about
ask her-
race, sir, on that college campus, on her campus. Move on, sir.
Okay. And at Metzger, what was the ratio of administrators who were Hispanic and compared to the administrators who were African American?
I'm going to object. It's totally irrelevant to these proceedings.
Sustain, move on, Judge.
Again, I'm going to answer the question because I asked you, what was the ratio?
Sir, I told you, don't go there. I'm going to end your questioning if you don't move on.
Okay, but that's ridiculous. All right. And when did you leave Metzger?
At the end of last school year.
Okay, and had you already put in, did you have to apply to leave, or they came and got you?
The position came open at the end of the summer, and so I did put in my application through Talent Ed. I was interviewed and recommended for the position.
So the position, it was it related to anything that had happened during the school year at Metzger?
I'm going to object. I don't think this is relevant to any of the issues that are before this body.
But what's your point, Judge? What's your point?
The point is, they're saying that she was unprofessional, incompetent, and inefficient. She hired this person to work as instructional coach, academic dean, and assistant principal. And this person's skills are such that she's been moved over to the early college. And I keep trying to do middle college on it. To the early college, because it's obviously a person of some wealth in terms of educational support. And that she was working for Ms. Ross at Ms. Ross's place, and that establishes that Ms. Ross knows how to pick people to work for her.
Ms. Ross was not part of my interview panel when I was hired at Metzger.
Okay. She wasn't she let you stay there.
She did.
That's right. You know, and she could have, like you said, it's her school. She could have made it different for you. But she decided to keep you there.
So what is your question,
we need to
sir?
move on here, okay? 5 minutes on this witness.
No further questions.
Thank you. Mr. Russo?
I have no further questions.
You're dismissed. Thank you. Okay, is that it, Mr.? Do you have any more?
Yes, sir. I have no further witnesses.
No further witness. Okay, here's where we're at. Okay. Does the administration have any further things to present to the board at this time, sir?
I'm sorry, no, sir.
Do
We
you
have
have
no
any
further.
further information?
No, we
presented?
have all the
Okay,
exhibits
so
submitted
you're-
that we
you're
wanted to,
done.
and no other witnesses.
Done, okay. Okay, then, Ms. Ross, your representative may present evidence on behalf. Now, we are right at, Judge Conley, and we are right at 4 hours, so I hope it doesn't take that long, sir, but I'm trying to be as fair as I can here. There were 4 hours on Mr. Russo's clock. I'll give you 4 hours on yours. I hope we don't, but I think I've been more than fair, sir.
No, I promise you, we will not be here 4 hours.
Okay, thank you.
First witness I'd like to call is Miss Lisa Butler, and we have to call her on the phone. I think our IT people still here.
She's a phone call?
We wanted to call Miss Lisa Butler.
Okay.
By
Where's our
telephone.
IT folks? Get them? Okay.
Going to help cut down our witness list.
Yeah, we're not running the clock, so, okay, we'll figure it out.
C-O-K-E-R. E-D-U-P-H-O-R.
See, Shit. Neville Shedd. He was a member of the 1956 Western Texas that beat Kentucky. First time an all-black team beat.
What happened?
No. Yeah, no, Teresa and Anita, but they went to the leader's office and the officer. You're an eternal optimist. I can have it every now and then, I just, you know.
My approach.
Oh, he has a, oh.
Judge.
Hello.
How you doing, Ms. Butler? This is Jim Conley. I'm calling you. You're on the speakerphone here in the boardroom. I'm going to take my seat and start asking some questions.
Witness needs to be sworn first. Judge, swear the witness
You're
first.
going to be sworn by the court reporter.
Okay.
Ma'am, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay. Would you please raise your right hand? Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you will give in today's matter will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth to help you God?
Yes, ma'am, I do.
Thank you.
Oh, yeah.
Hello?
Yes. Ms. Butler, would you please state your full name?
My name is Lisa Lorraine Butler.
Okay. Ms. Butler, where do you live?
I'm sorry?
Where do you live? What is your
I live
address?
4918 Lost Street, San Antonio, Texas, 78244.
And that's in the Judson Independent School District?
I'm sorry, Ms. Conley, you sound very far away and I can
You can
barely
go,
hear
Judge,
you.
go over there and just
Do that.
have a seat. Whatever works.
You want your chair over there?
Is this better? Lisa, is this better?
Yes, Yes, sir, it is.
Okay, thank you. Please, how were you involved with Metzger Middle School?
Well, for the past 10 years, I've had children or nieces that have lived with me that have gone through Metzger Middle School.
Okay.
So I've been involved with it for a very long time.
Okay, and talk to me a little bit about how you came to be involved with the parent-teacher organization this last year.
Well, my son, who is now a junior at Wagner, talked to his coach, and the coach convinced me to be the Wagner Athletic Booster Club president because he had no parents that were stepping up this year. So I happened to be at Wagner, I happened to be at Metzger last year, in 2014-15. And I was talking to one of the teachers, and I was actually up there trying to sell Wagner t-shirts. And I saw Miss Ross, and she asked me, would I be interested in being on her PTO? Because the parents that were doing the PTO were leaving, their kids were moving on, and she had been looking for someone to take over because no one wanted it. No one wanted to do it. And so I was skeptical at first because my hands were already full with Wagner, but she never found anyone. And so when I realized at the beginning of this school year that they still didn't have anyone, I went to Miss Lee and told her I would be I would be on the PTO. It just so happened that even with me being on the PTO, they never found anyone to help me. So I ended up being the president because I was the only member.
Okay. Who is Miss Lee?
Miss Lee is the receptionist in the front office
Okay.
of Metzger Middle School.
All right. After.
Miss Lee referred me. I'm sorry. Miss Lee referred me to Miss Hopkins.
Okay. And what's you talking about, Lauren Hopkins?
Yes.
Okay. And when did you? Was this at the beginning of the 14-15 year, or the 15-14?
No, this 15-16 this
Okay,
year,
okay.
this past school year.
All right. All right. And what activities did you participate in as the PTO president?
Well, the first thing we did was we did the back to school dance, which was, I think it was 2 weeks into the school year. And then immediately we started planning the fall festival.
When you say we, who are you talking about?
Me and Miss Hopkins.
Okay. And let's go back to the school dance. When you had the dance, who collected was there a fee for the dance?
Yes, sir. It was after school and it was a fee. It was $2 a kid.
Okay. And with the money that was collected, what happened with the money that was collected?
The money that was collected was turned into Miss Hopkins.
Okay.
Miss Hopkins was in charge of collecting all of the money for PTO.
Okay. And were any payments made out of the cash that was collected?
It was a lot of payments made out of the cash that we have been collecting for everything. But none of it was paid with cash. It was paid with checks
Okay.
from Lauren to whomever.
Okay. When you say Lauren, I mean, you talking about from the activity fund?
I can only assume that they were from the activity fund. They were checks.
Okay. And so how would you get a check from Lauren?
Well, when it was time to pay the DJ to start off, PTO had no money because the president and vice president, when they realized that they were not going to come back as PTO members because of their conflict with Lauren, they went ahead and offered dished the money out to different organizations within the school. So I started the PTO with absolutely no funds. So Lauren told me, don't worry, that she would, quote, finagle some funds so that we could at least have a DJ at the first dance. So she paid the DJ, Mr. Flowers, with a check.
Okay. And how did you deliver the check to Mr. Flowers, or she delivered the check to Mr. Flowers?
Oh, no, I delivered it.
Okay,
It was $250.
all right. What happened next?
What happened was when I said, well, how are we gonna get the money to pay him? Maybe we'll have to pay him afterwards when we collect the funds from the kids. I just hope enough kids come that we have the $250 to at least pay him. And she said, don't worry about it, girl. I got you. I'll make sure we have the money. She said Ross has her own personal activity account and the school has extra funds, and they have quite a few to start off with. She goes, I'll make sure that we pay it out of one of those funds. So I said, okay. So when the day of the dance, which was after school, I went to her and I said, okay, he's in there setting up. She turned, I was sitting in front of her desk. Lauren turned, she pulled up some program on her computer. She said, oh, let me type you up a check real quick. She typed the check up on the computer. She looked in her bottom drawer, her bottom right-hand drawer that was locked. She unlocked it, grabbed the check, put it into her printer, face down, and then she clicked print, and she said, oh, okay, it's printing out right now. She took the check, she signed it, she tore it at the perforated section and handed it to me and said, okay, Lisa, you can run and go pay him. We should be good. Then after I paid him, it was good. He took the check, no problem. Afterward, we collected $470. I went after the dance. I went the next morning because she left. I went the next morning and I gave Lauren the $470. And I said, this is what we collected from the door and from us selling the sodas and the pizza. And she said, good, now PTO has $470. And so I said, okay, what about the $250? She said, don't even worry about that. They won't even miss it. And I said, oh, okay, well now PTO has $470.
Okay. Then what happened next?
And then she said, we need to have a big, we need to do like something big for the school to draw the community in. And so I said, well, you know what Candlewood does that I like? Candlewood gets with their Boys and Girls Club, and they have a fall festival every year. And people participate, and it just becomes real big, and it's fun for the kids. And she said, well, then let's do it here in Metzger. And I said, oh, okay.
Mr. President,
And so she said, let me get it
would you
clear
ask
with
her
Ms.
to stop
Ross
for a
that we
minute?
can have one, and then I'll tell her that
Ma'am?
we're going to work it out.
Oh, well,
So within the
hold
next
it, Lisa, hold it.
Just a sec. Ms. Russo?
At this time, I'm going to raise an objection for hearsay, and if I could, I know you're going to let it in, and it can be afforded to wait. I would like to have a running objection. She's talking about conversations between herself and Ms. Hopkins, I believe, and that is clearly hearsay. So I would just like to have a running objection to all that testimony involving what she is discussing with Ms. Hopkins.
Yes, sir. Noted.
All right, you can go ahead, Ms.
Okay.
Ms. Butler. Let's talk about the Fall Festival. Did the Fall Festival take place?
Oh, yes, it did, and it was quite successful.
Okay, and tell me about how was the money handled on that case?
Well, what we decided was, because we knew it was going to be big, we decided that for the vendors, we weren't going to charge any of the teachers to be a part of it. And every club, we wanted them to participate. So I went with she gave me the funds from the $470. We used that to buy.
Just a moment. The $470. How did she give it to you?
Well, I paid for everything up front, and then she gave it back to me in cash when I gave her the receipts for that. What we did was we went to Oriental Trading Company and we bought black wristbands for the kids so that they could pre-buy the bands. And then we bought like these tickets that you sell. Each ticket was worth $1. So we bought 3,000 of those, and then we turn around $3,000 in tickets, but I think it's maybe like $30, $40. And then we bought the wristbands, and there was plenty of those. And then what we did was, then we decided, okay, we got all the teachers to sign up. And we decided we didn't want a lot of money being exchanged in hands with the teachers, because we said that she was the bookkeeper and that the teachers had to turn the money into her as the bookkeeper.
All right.
So,
I know I appreciate your narrative, but let's talk about when the Fall Festival was had and revenues did come in. I understand that the tickets were $1 that they paid for them, but then if the vendor brought them to you, the teachers, that they used them like currency, and then they brought the tickets to you, instead of giving them $1 per ticket, how much, did you give them a different rate?
No, they got dollar for dollar.
Okay. All right. And so where was the revenue coming from for, was it selling of the black bands?
No, the revenue, we sold to the students, and then we sold to the parents that came, but the PTO's revenue came in, like you said, from the selling of the wristbands, because you had to pay to even get in the festival.
Okay. And how much was the wristband?
$2
Okay.
and $3 for parents.
Okay. And how many wristbands do you think you sold?
Oh, we bought a total of 2,000 wristbands, and we had made, and it was 100 in each bag. We had about 5. We still have 6 bags left, so we sold 1,400.
Okay.
We sold about 1,400 of them.
Okay. And how was the money handled for the sale of the black bands?
I would go to the cafeteria and for all the lunches, and the kids up the week before, the kids could buy them for $2 each.
Okay.
And then we were selling them also at the little gate.
All right. And where would the people get the dollar tickets?
They would get them. We had teachers selling tickets. It was 3 teachers that sold tickets on one side of the parking lot, and then it was me and 2 teachers that sold the other tickets on the other side of the parking lot. So if you wanted to buy anything, you had to come to us and buy tickets.
Okay. All right. At the end of the night, what happened with the funds?
Well, we were bringing in so much money that I called Lauren on the cell phone and told her she needed to come and get some of this money because it was overflowing out of my little bag. And so she came and she started just grabbing money out, getting all the 20s, the 10s, the 50s, and the 100s that we had, leaving us with just 1. And so she did that between me and the other ones maybe like 3 or 4 times throughout the night. At the end, when we shut down, then she came and she collected the money from the other teachers and then the money from me. And then the vendors came up to me, and as they turned in their tickets, we counted out the tickets and then turned around and gave them the cash for the tickets for those vendors that were not affiliated with Metzger. If you were a teacher or it was an organization affiliated with Metzger, then all you did was turn in your tickets. You kept account and I kept account, and that was turned into Lauren, and she was going to take your money from your portion and deposit it into your account.
Okay. What about PTO? What account did?
Lauren kept the PTO's money as well because I suggested that we count it at the end of the night because I was truly excited for what I thought would be a big profit. And so I said, oh, we made a lot of money. Let's count it and, see what we made. And she said, brother, I'm too tired. She said, let's do it tomorrow. Come up to the school tomorrow. Me and you will count it, and we'll make sure that the teachers who turned in their tickets get all of their money, and I can deposit it into their account. So I said, okay, no problem. She took all of the money, and we walked into her office. She put it under her desk because most of it couldn't fit in her safe. She put it under the desk and locked the door. And then the next day when I went up there, she told me that she was really, really busy. She had some things going on, but Miss Ross wanted a pep rally for the for the football team because they won district. So if I could hurry up and plan a pep rally for the boys.
Okay. And did you?
Yes, I did.
Okay. And
We planned a big pep rally.
what did you do? What did you provide anything for the football players at the pep rally?
Oh, yes, we provided all 84 7th and 8th grade football players with goodie bags.
Okay. And how much did that cost?
About $700.
Okay. And where did you get the money for that?
Lauren went into the safe and handed me $700. She handed me $520. So she just grabbed a stack of 20s that she had. I counted out in front of her, it was $520. I went to Sam's and purchased everything for the boys. I went to Dollar General, got the bags. I went and got the balloons and everything we needed, and then I took her back the receipt, and she ended up owing me $102, and she ended up giving me $102 after I gave her the receipt. Then she turned around and she wrote a check out to the DJ we had, because we had a DJ there for that pep rally as well.
All right. And when she issued these checks, were you there? I mean, did you see her write the checks?
Oh yeah, I was there when she wrote all the checks when it pertained to PTO, because we determined the amounts together.
Okay. And to your knowledge, she was the only one that signed?
Well, she was the only one I saw sign them. Oh, at one point, when because we had to get things for the fall festival. We had to get a banner. We wanted to put the word out. We had to call KD Logo and buy and put a banner. Banners would be in one front of Ben's England and Foster Road. So we had to go. The school, she didn't know. School.
We're having trouble with your connection. Where are you moving? Are you guys moving around?
I'm driving. Can you hear me now?
Okay.
Okay, let me pull over. Can you hear me?
Yes, but you're going in and out. Yeah, if you can't pull over, that would help.
Okay.
She's in Florida, so.
Okay, hold on. Give me about 1 minute. I'm going to exit the freeway. Okay, can you hear me a little better?
Yes.
Okay. We had to buy things for the fall festival, like banners, and we bought posters so that we could hang them up at each of the elementary schools. All the feeder schools for Metzger, and I even went and hung them up at Wagner. We was determined.
It's cut off.
We lose her?
Where's our tech guy? Call back.
Waving at it.
Well, I thought she'd call back. Mr. Sawyer.
Sir.
Why don't we take another witness
Okay.
and go through that?
That'd be
And
great.
she comes back, she comes
We'll
back.
take- Okay, thank you, sir.
I have no objections to that.
Who would you like,
Call
Sure.
Miss Carolyn Ross.
Carlin Ross? Okay, Ms. Ross? Ms. Ross, did you swear in when we swore everybody in? Did you swear in when everybody swore? Okay, swear in, so we, right, go ahead, ma'am.
Raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you will give today will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
I know this is obligatory, but I just want to ask, would you state your name for the record?
Carolyn Diane Ross.
All right. And Ms. Ross, are you the petitioner here today?
Yes, I am.
Ms. Ross, I'm going to go.
Excuse me, just for the point of record, she's not the petitioner. This is a proposed non-renewal, and actually, it is the administration that is the petitioner. She's the respondent. She was the one requesting a hearing, but we're the ones that have to establish that one of the reasons for non-renewal exists.
Okay, noted, okay, thank you.
Ms. Ross, at an interview conducted on May 9th, attended by district officials, human resource officer.
She's calling back.
Do you want me to press answer?
This is Lisa.
Okay.
I'll be going back, am I,
Just have a seat, Ms. Ross. Just have a seat. We'll move on here. 'Cause, welcome back. Go ahead, ma'am.
Welcome back.
Thank you. I'm sorry, I pulled over.
Okay, now please, you mentioned we. Now, when you're talking about we, who are you talking about?
Oh, I'm talking about me and Lauren.
Okay, was Lauren, in your mind, the designee by Ms. Ross to work with you?
Yes. Lauren told me that me and her would work hand in hand for Pt.6.
Okay. After the fall festival, and but now you're talking about going back before the fall festival, that you had to buy banners to set up for the fall festival. What happened in relation to that?
Okay. We were trying to decide how much we think it would cost to get the stakes and maybe a hammer to hammer those banners into place. So what we did was, Lauren said, well, let's get them for Home Depot. So she left on her lunch break. Me and her, I honestly rode with her. We went to Home Depot, and she had a check. I think it was for maybe $100. I'm pretty sure I think it was for $100. So we went and we bought the stakes, and they cut them for us, and we bought a hammer. Well, when we got
Can you
up
hear
to
that?
Can y'all hear me?
Yes.
Okay.
No, the court reporter's
So
saying
when we
no.
got up to the register to pay, the guy, they called the manager because, of course, it was a third-party check. Well, we tried. I was just like, do we need to get anything else? Maybe we need to go back and, make the check for what it's going to be. And she said, no, we don't have time for that. She said, can y'all give us back change? The cashier called the manager over. The manager said, no, we can't give you back change. You have to spend all of it in order for us to be able to take the check. So then Lauren was like, let me see, how much do we have to spend? And I think he said it was like $40. So she ran over, turned around and looked, and they had extension cords on sale. So she ran over and she grabbed two really big extension cords. And she was like, how much is it now? And he said, well, now you have like $9 and something. And then she said, okay, well, let me start grabbing something. So she grabbed 2 sodas, 2 bags of chips, some candy. She started grabbing little things. And then she ended up actually owing $1 and something cents when she finished. And so I was like, okay, I said, why didn't you just go back and make another check? She said, because, girl, that's too much work. She said, we'll just put the receipt in the bag and just say it was stuff we bought for the fall festival. She said, besides, I could really use the extension cord. And I said, oh, okay. And she put them in the back of her trunk with the boards that we bought and the hammer.
All right. Then, did the PTO at that time, did you have a bank account?
No, I didn't have a bank account because I had a bank account. We have a bank account for Wagner's Booster Club. So I had told Lauren, I said, hey, I really don't want to be on another account unless I have to. We got to get a treasurer and maybe a vice president so we can put them on the account. And she said, no, I'm going to handle y'all's funds because I handle the funds for the school. She said, it's easy and accessible if you have it here. So if the teachers need it, I can just give it to them versus having to wait for you to go to the bank to pull it out and all of that. She said, I'll keep your running tab like I do everything else. She said, we'll be fine. We don't need you to get a bank account.
All right. Did the previous PTO members have a bank account?
Yes, they did. And what I did was, because Miss Lee, the secretary or the receptionist, would call me and tell me that they had, like, their statements were coming. And so on one time I was up there, because I was up at school a lot, Miss Lee handed me a statement. It was from Randolph. And I said, well, they still have a bank account.
I'm sorry,
just
ma'am.
gonna go and-
Slow down a little, Lisa. We have a court reporter, and she didn't catch it all.
I'm sorry. Okay, Miss Lee had given me a bank statement from the previous president and vice president of the PTO. So I said, I took it upon myself without telling Lauren that I was going to go and check on me just adding my name to that account and removing theirs. Well, the lady at Randolph Brooks told me I would have to get a letter from Lauren to go ahead and have my name put on that account. And so I went to the school that afternoon and I told her, I said, hey, Lauren, I'm just gonna put my name on their account so that we can start keeping a track because I'm already handling Wagner's money. I don't want to get them mixed up and I wanna make sure I have all my ducks in a row. And she said, no, Lisa, don't worry about it. And I said, well, they just said I need to get a letter from you that I'm the PTO president. And she said, okay, I'll give you a letter, but don't worry about it. Well, after that, every time I would ask her for a letter, like the next 2 weeks, she would not give it to me or tell me, don't worry about it, don't worry about it. So I just left it alone and quit asking for the letter, and we never got a bank account.
Okay.
Excuse me, I'm going to raise an objection. Most of that was clearly hearsay.
Yes, sir.
It's run on. I'm not sure I could follow it very well, but having a question where a witness is allowed to go on and on and on, it doesn't make it conducive for me to raise any kind of objection. So I'm going to object to that testimony and move that it be stricken.
Your objection is noted. It'll be up to each board member to consider what weight is given to this evidence.
Let's fast forward. Did you go to the bridge over ceremony?
Yes, I did.
All right. And would you describe and what kind of ceremony is that?
It is where the 8th graders get their certificates. It's kind of like saying you're leaving middle school, going to high school.
Okay. Did you attend that event?
I did.
All right. Did you see Ms. Ross speaking at that event?
I did.
Okay. Would you describe her demeanor and what she seemed to relate at that event?
She seemed very proud of her kids. Like, she was beaming. She was joyous. She was happy. She acted like a proud parent that was watching her kids walk across the stage.
Okay. Did she slip or fall or trip or anything?
Yes, she did. When you walked up on the stage, they had dimmed the lights to where it was like dark, and they have this little bridge thing that they have. Well, Miss Ross as she was getting up to speak, there was I guess the cord from this lamp that they had sitting there. The lamp was lighting the stage, but it was very romantic. It was very lit low and this one little lamp, but they did not secure the cord down so that if you're walking up on stage and you're not paying attention, you wouldn't see the cord and you would trip. And that's exactly what happened. She tripped over the cord and the lamp fell.
Okay. Did any of the police officer, anybody have to come up to the stage or what?
No. Well, they wanted to make sure she was okay, but she wasn't the only one that tripped. Some of the kids were tripping over that cord. And I was like, I don't know why they don't secure the cord.
Okay. Did a police officer have to come take her off the stage or?
That I don't remember. I don't think so, because I remember that the kids sniggled, and I turned around to make sure that my kids were not laughing. And then when I turned back around, she was walking back up, and then she was walking off the stage.
Okay. Was she long-winded on that day?
I'm going to be honest with you. Miss Ross is always long-winded. Miss Ross is a brilliant speaker to me, my opinion, but if you give her an audience, especially of her kids, she was proud. So whenever she's talking about that Metzger Middle School and those children, she's long-winded, period.
All right. Did Ms. Ross at any time tell you that she had given permission to Ms. Hopkins to sign her name on a check?
No, she didn't. And I never questioned Ms. Ross about it, because I felt, number one, that wasn't my business. And I don't know Lauren's job description or her duty and what she can do. So Lauren never made it a big deal that she signed the check. It was only one time that that sticks in my mind that really made me think, like, is she supposed to be doing that?
Did she ever get checks signed by anybody else beside herself?
No, but she didn't, only because Miss Gomez refused to sign it. It was actually, she cut the check for the DJ, the very first dance, 2 weeks back to school dance. She was like, come on, Lisa, let's go over here and get Gomez to sign it real quick. So she went around to the council office, and she told Ms. Gomez, hey, can you sign this? Ms. Gomez looked down at it and she said, no, you go get Ross to sign it and then I'll sign it. And then when we were so Lauren was like, she took the check out of her hand, and when we were walking back, she said, see, that's why I don't like that bitch. She said, I'll never ask her to sign another check. I do not like Gomez. She's not about the kids. And then we walked back in her office. She signed a check and said, here, brother, just go give it to him.
All right.
And that was the first and the only time that I've ever seen her ask anybody to sign a check, but Ms. Gomez refused to sign it because Ms. Ross hadn't signed it.
Okay. And did you ever talk to Ms. Ross about that incident?
No, no, I didn't. Because I felt like it wasn't my business. It wasn't my place.
Okay. What has the effect on the school been since Ms. Ross has not been there?
Oh, my
Excuse me, I'm
God.
going to object. It's not relevant to any issue before this tribunal.
Wait a minute. May I please?
Yes, sir.
This woman's been charged with professionalism, a lack of professionalism, of incompetency, of inefficiency, and this is the person that has firsthand knowledge because she's there all the time, been going there for 10 years. And we're asking her how it has affected based upon her experience there.
Okay, sir, move on. Let's go.
All right. So would you please tell us what how has it affected the school in terms of academic achievement?
I'm not understanding. I raised an objection to that. Are you saying he can go ahead and ask that question of her? She's not even an employee at the district.
Change your line of questioning, Judge. We can't go there. She's not an employee of the district, as Mr. Russo said, and a non-expert in education.
We're not asking her for an expert opinion. We're asking her for a lay opinion of how things have changed at the school that she's been at for 10 years.
Okay, she's not an employee of the district. She's not an educational expert. We need to move on, sir.
I'm not offering her as an educational expert.
Okay, your direct is over.
One more chance.
Proceed, Judge.
What was there a banner in front of Metzger School
For what?
for the 2013 year?
Once again, excuse me, I'm going to
There's a banner
object.
up there for school excellence.
Could you ask her to stop talking when I'm raising an objection?
Hold it, Lisa. Hold it. We want to hear his objection. All right.
Mr. Russo?
I'm going to object. It's not relevant what banner was there. The picture of the banner is in there. I don't understand what it has to do with the reason that we're here today, for the board to consider reasons for proposed non-renewal. I mean, I will stipulate that a banner was hung up on that campus. And so I don't know why we're wasting time when we've been here so long having a witness talk about a banner that was put up in 2013.
Okay.
And I'm asking and what I'm saying is that banner was given by a professional organization, which is, if
Okay.
he wants an explanation,
Sustain, move on, sir.
okay, Texas Educational Association issued some designations.
That's not a question, sir. You're questioning
I'm
the
getting ready
witness.
if you let me finish.
Okay.
And the 2013 is the result of the designation by the Texas TEA. Did the Metzger also earn another banner for this year, but it has not been placed?
Once again,
Sustain, okay, Judge, we're going to move on here, okay? I'm going to move you on here. We're talking about banners, has nothing to do with this. Let's move on, sir.
The banners
Sir,
are relevant.
sir,
I'm
going to redirect you here. I'm going to direct you in a minute, okay?
Direct me to what?
To stop this line of questioning, okay? It's
Well, I'm not
irrelevant.
talking about the line of
It's
questioning.
irrelevant,
We're
sir.
talking about the issue of her professionalism.
Sir,
You said that she was incompetent.
Stop. Direct's over. Mr. Russo, your witness, sir.
I just have a couple questions. Ms. Butler, can you hear me?
I think Russo ought to do it.
Mr. Russo, it's trade places, so
Yeah.
you can.
Is that yours?
Ms. Butler, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
I just have a couple questions. My name is Robert Russo, and I'm an attorney for the district. I want to ask you first, is it true that you're a longtime friend of Ms. Ross?
No, that's not true.
Was she your teacher a long time ago?
No, sir.
She was not?
I graduated from Jefferson High School.
Do you have any knowledge of what is required of principals in accounting for campus funds?
No, sir, I don't.
Do you know the difference between campus activity funds and PTO funds?
Yes, I do.
And your familiarity is with the PTO funds, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Not the campus activity funds?
Well, I only know what Lauren told me as she was giving me checks.
All right, you have no personal knowledge about the proper handling of campus activity funds, do you?
No.
I have no further questions.
Thank you.
No further questions.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you
Ms.
very
Lees.
much, ma'am. Thank you. Please,
Pardon?
another witness, sir?
Yes, Ms.
Ms.
Caroline
Ross?
Ross.
Yes. Goodbye.
Ms. Ross, in their notice that they sent to you, they claimed at that time 5 areas of failure for the proposed reason for your non-renewal. The first of it was failure to fulfill duties or responsibilities. The second was incompetency or inefficiency in performance of duties, failure to comply with board policies and administrative regulations, failure to meet district standards of professional conduct. Those are 4 of the 5. Have you had an evaluation of your professional conduct? Have you had evaluation of your competency and efficiency and performance of your duties, or your ability to fulfill your duties and responsibilities?
Yes, sir. I do have one from 2014, 2015.
Okay. And was that the last evaluation that was done in your case?
Yes, sir.
I'd ask to turn to Exhibit B. Responding to Exhibit B. Is this true representation of your evaluation from 6/11/15?
Yes, sir.
And would you, can you explain briefly what it represents?
Okay.
It says instructional management, organizational morale, organizational improvement, personnel management, management administration, fiscal and facilities function, student management, school community relations, professional growth and development. Then you got a rating of an E. What does that mean?
Means excellence.
And then P&A required for school, I don't know what that is. Professional development hours, how many hours did you spend for professional development hours? Is that for the year?
Yes, sir.
So, does that amount to 177?
It's-
Question, sir, because the board's asking, who is the appraising signature?
I'm sorry, I can't.
Who is the
There's a question
appraiser's
for the appraiser's
signature?
signature is,
Can you help me, Ms. Hernandez? The board's asking.
Nancy Robbins.
Nancy Robinson. Thank you, sir. Go ahead. Thank you.
and then, in this area, can you see, Mr. Macias? You have a copy, you should have a copy for it, right there. And the state data notes, reading, 6th grade, is that 6th grade is up plus 10?
Yes, sir.
Reading plus 7. I speak for itself. 8th grade, it was up plus 4. In writing, it was up plus 13. And in science, it was up plus 24, the highest level 3. And then SSS, social science,
Social studies.
social studies, is 9. And the comment here is positive growth in all tests, on all tests. Ms. Ross has built strong instructional teams. She has led the school to once again Grow, I'm saying, I wiped off some of that. Grow in terms of the student achievement. And you signed it, and then Ms. Robertson, was it Nancy Robertson?
Yes, sir.
Signed it? And what's the date on that?
6/11/15.
As a result of this state data, did you guys receive recognition from the Texas Education Agency?
Yes, sir. This past year, we received 2 distinctions again.
Okay. And did that make you eligible for another banner?
Yes, sir, and a plaque.
Okay. And when you returned at the school year after the recognition in June of 15, did you receive a banner from the school district?
No, sir.
I'm gonna, excuse me, I'm gonna object. I don't think it's relevant. Whether she got a banner or not, what we're talking about are the issues that were raised in the notice of proposed non-renewal, and this really has nothing to do with it.
It has everything to do with it because that's a recognition of her professionalism that was not recognized by the school district.
And that's not an issue before this tribunal. Whether or not she got appropriate recognition, the issue here is whether or not Ms. Ross engaged in actions that properly permit the board to non-renew her contract. She may have been doing very good work in a number of areas, but the fact of the matter is that the evidence shows that she was falling down on areas that are very important in connection with financial obligations, in connection with making sure that funds are properly accounted for. The fact that she's been recognized for instructional purposes does not mean this board cannot decide to non-renew her contract.
Is that testimony? I'm raising this issue. Or something else.
Your objective noted is up to each board member to consider what weight to give this evidence.
I think exhibit number D before the board. And because her competency, professionalism, and her ability to fulfill her duties have been raised, we have outlined her career, not every step, but we've outlined a career which we want to hit in a very brief period of time. The professional competences of Carol Ross. She was the assistant principal at Judson High School, a great campus. There she wrote and was awarded a $30,000 character count grant, which was funded for 3 years. She became principal secondary alternative school, originated San Antonio area's first secondary boot camp. She assisted in mentoring opportunities for students with frequent visits by football legends Jethro Pugh of the Dallas Cowboys and Bob Lilly of the Dallas Cowboys. She was assistant principal at Judson High Red Campus. She identified and helped and was selected by former First Lady Laura Bush to participate in the White House Conference for Helping America's Youth in Washington based on the work with young males of color. She later became principal of Judson Learning Academy. While serving her first year there, received the Secondary Administrator of the Year. She was selected also as interim principal of Metzger Middle School after the principal resigned. She has supported the Judson Educational Foundation.
Sir, this is not cross-examination. We've already stipulated everything in here, sir.
Miss, I'll give it a rec. You want me, I'm trying to save us some time, but I'm fine.
This is already stipulated in all the documents.
All right. Miss,
Move on, sir.
Actually,
It's already stipulated.
Mr. Salyer, if I may, as much as I like that to be the case, he's reading from something that, was this an exhibit?
yes.
Then I'm sorry, I withdraw that. You are correct.
Would you be willing to explain what you've done at Metzger, because that's at the issue here? How did you institute academic and instructional modalities to build a foundation?
When I first took over Metzger Middle School, we were a low-performing campus, and I was asked to try a number of different instructional programs to help increase reading, math, and science. I had worked with a number of outside agencies, and eventually Ms. Robinson was appointed as my campus evaluator, to where she came in and mentored me on instructional leadership. And from there, I was able to take the things that she had given me, the tools that she had helped me with, and I went back and implemented them on the campus.
And did the campus receive any distinctions?
The year 2013, 2012, 2013, and then 2014, 2015.
And what distinctions did they receive?
We earned 2 distinctions. I don't know them right offhand, but I know, I want to say in ELA and reading. And then the year before last, we missed it by percentage points because of a percent attendance. We were at 96.2, and we should have been at 96.3, and we would have gotten 6 distinctions. And then this past year, we earned 2 distinctions, 2015, 2016.
And what modalities do you have to encourage students to maintain attendance?
Well, we just and try to encourage them via telephone calls, and encouraging parents to make sure the children get to school on time, and I talk to them during lunches. Since I'm long-winded,
what activities do you have at school to encourage and engage the students to maintain attendance, good attendance?
Well, we have a lot of different programs on the campus. We have United Communities with Miss Marty Morida. We have Boys and Girls Club, United Communities with Miss Marty Morida. We have Boys and Girls Club. We have Young Achievers program on campus. I have Omega Gents program. I have several different programs that encourage kids, and I have a lot of male mentors on campus as well.
Okay. Do you have any sports or music programs to encourage participation?
Our children are very talented at Metzger. We have an outstanding band program, and orchestra, and choir, and theater arts program.
In relation to the band program, did you do anything to help enhance the band program during the academic year before your suspension?
Well, back in the fall of 2015, I wrote a letter of recommendation for our campus to receive a Mr. Hollins Opus grant, and we also held about an hour Skype with the director of the Mr. Hollins Opus committee, and I had to talk about
what was the result of that?
We ended up getting the grant for $30,000.
That was your band?
Yes, the band did.
And will that enhance the band?
Yes, it's going to help the children that can't afford to buy instruments to get instruments.
Has your campus been selected for any visits by people from other school districts?
It was my understanding from the prior leadership that our campus was considered a model school. I was called quite often to host several campus visits, from as far as Plainview, Texas, to Plano, to Houston, as far as Canada, Halifax, Canada. We had visitors there, and as close as our partner school districts, Northeast ISD, Northside ISD.
Okay. How about your assistant principals? What, if any, has occurred in terms of their growth?
All of my assistant principals, with the exception of one, have been awarded positions as lead principals at some of our elementary schools. 2 of them, notably Mr. Jerome Johnson and Miss Julie May. I'm sorry. I said I've had 2 assistant principals under my leadership to get appointed to elementary school positions, lead principal positions.
Would it be fair to say that your campus was one of the most visited campuses?
Yes, sir. By quite a few schools outside of the city, as well as outside of the district.
In terms of honors for your school and for members of that, did your orchestra receive a recognition?
Oh yeah, for the first time, our orchestra won sweepstakes this past school year.
In what year? 2015?
Yes, sir.
And best in the Bluebonnet Classic
Yes,
In
sir.
fact, you had a former Mexican student back to speak to you. Is that correct?
Well, I had a professional jazz musician to come to visit the campus, Ryan Kilgore, who plays backup for jazz saxophone for Stevie Wonder. And he ended up coming for an hour visit, and he ended up staying all day to work with different programs and tutor some of the children.
How about Andre Robertson, the NBA from Oakland City Thunder? Did he come back to the camp?
All of Mr. Roberson's children have gone through Metzger. And the last one's not there. I have one that's 6th grade going to 7th grade.
And the honors, did the honors band do anything special?
The honors band, they continually perform. Kids across the district, across the city, they always win sweepstakes and receive ones in band, honors band, sweepstakes.
Ms. Ross, I understand you have eyesight issues, so I'm going to bring a copy of these over here. Okay, turn to page 5 if you would, and give us a little explanation. You mentioned here that you manage activity fund for the Metzger cheerleaders to compete and win the Fun Cheer National in 2016. Where was that held?
The cheer nationals were held here in San Antonio.
And did they have fundraisers in order to get?
Certainly, yes. The cheerleading sponsor held a fundraiser.
Okay, and what kind of
The
fundraiser?
cheerleading sponsor held a fundraiser.
And what kind of fundraiser was that?
After school, they would sell pizza slices and things of that sort.
In the 7th grade, Lady Mustangs were undefeated district champions and stat champions too. Did you have a pep rally for them?
For whom?
For the page 5, the 7th grade Lady Mustangs were undefeated champions and stat champions in 2015.
We would combine the pep rallies with the boys and the girls to congratulate all the teams.
Then the 8th grade boys soccer first ever district champion.
Right.
Did you institute any other programs? At the bottom of page 5, it says comply with all federal and state regulations establishing unique transportation support for extended day tutoring program resulting in increased academic achievement and higher attendance. A direct impact on ADA funding. What is ADA?
Average daily attendance.
So the more kids that come to school, the more money the school district gets.
Right. And the extended day was for those children that were struggling in a lot of their content areas like math and science and reading.
What do you mean? How would you help them?
Well, most schools have it, especially schools in the southeast end. Many of us are Title I schools, and we're able to provide after school tutoring for our children. Tutoring.
In terms of reaching out and finding outside support, did you get a grant from the Judson Education Foundation?
Yes, I did. We received one back in the fall of 2015.
For what reason? What was it used for?
We used it on a program that we had currently had in place, and we had lost the funding for it. So we were awarded a $5,000 grant.
What was the program about?
Bullying and teaching tolerance, and it addressed a whole bunch of different issues that a lot of our children come to school with.
Did you also receive a $500 discretionary grant from Randolph Brooks?
Yes, we did. We received that back in.
And we discussed
yeah.
Mr. Holland's Opus grant for $30,000
Yes, sir.
to purchase new instruments for the band.
Yes, sir.
You also secured thousands of tickets for students to attend Spurs games and attend special guests at the Alamo Bowl. Here, what is to Selena with love? What is that?
I try to. I'm very. I try to think outside the realm of bringing in innovative programs for our children. And I had built a relationship with Patsy Torres and Javier Galvan, formerly of the Grupo Fama, and they.
Speak up, please.
I'm speaking into the speaker, Mr. Speak louder. Okay, I apologize. I try to meet the needs of all the children on the campus with our demography that we serve. So I try to have different events, varying events, not only for my children, but for my parents. And I thought it would be a neat opportunity to do a program or a tribute to Selena. And Javier Galvan knew Chris Quintanilla. So we brought him in, and we worked for months and months on this play. And I invited the school board, I invite everybody in the community to come to these events just to see the talent of our children that we have in this community. And it was like a 3-month process with Javier Galvan and Patsy Torres, and we had a phenomenal turnout. It was standing room only, and I think 1 or 2 of the school board members showed up. I think maybe Mr. Macias was the only one.
Are you bilingual?
Yes, I am.
Have you utilized that skill, reaching out to the Hispanic community?
Yes, I do. I have a very good relationship with my parents from Puerto Rico, Mexico, Brazil, Panama.
You mentioned the Young Achievers program before. Tell us what is that about?
The Young Achievers program is an extension of the Boys and Girls Club, and our campus was fortunate enough to be selected to actually house one of those programs on our campus. And we've had it for the last, I want to say, 3 or 4 years now. And it recognizes children with high academic achievement, and we take those the children on visits to colleges and campuses. We go to Cape College, Texas A&M, UT, Austin, UTSA, and they go on college visits, and then we have mentors that come onto the campus, and several of the mentors are former Judson graduates like Randy Mosier, that's over at Frost Bank. Several attorneys and doctors that are in the community, and they come back and mentor the children, and then the children are given an opportunity to take the SAT test. And we had 5 children to score the top 5 across the city that are involved in the Young Achievers program. And these 5 students of Metzger Middle School outscored 80 to 90% of the juniors and seniors across the state of Texas.
And then, as you said, the Metzger earns place for state. The theater production, tell us about that. What happened?
Well, we've had so many phenomenal productions at the campus that I think have gone unnoticed. We had Finding Nemo to Scenes from the Lion King to Willy Wonka Chocolate Factory. We did a tribute to Motown as well.
Mr. President, at this time, I'm just going to object. They're going on and on. We're not talking about, and none of the reasons involve the academic program at Metzger Middle School.
I have to agree. Sir, move on.
We've got one.
Okay, one more and move on.
And what are you doing now, during this time?
I'm currently working with Senator Menendez to address the cyberbullying issues that we're having across the nation. We've had quite a few children that have been cyberbullied on my campus, as well as children across the nation. It took a child from a different school district to commit suicide to bring attention and awareness to what's going on with all the bullying across the nation. So Senator Menendez's office has reached out to me because of the work I do with kids, and I guess I was recommended to him because I work with a lady named Minnie Sanchez from SAISD that currently works for Mr. Menendez. Minnie Sanchez works for Senator Menendez, and she and I work together in SAISD. So we're going to try to come up with some things at the state level to address how districts combat cyberbullying and what discipline measures we're going to put in place outside of David's law.
Now I'll turn you back to the accusations that are listed and that were sent to us on May 30th. It says that the interview conducted on May 9th, it says April 9th, but it's been changed to May 9th, attended by District Chief Resources Irma Hernandez and Associate Superintendent Alita Vera. Ms. Ross misrepresented the facts when she stated she did not know prior to February 23rd, 2016, that someone else assigned her name to checks. Did you misrepresent the fact that you did not know prior to February 23rd, 2016, that someone else assigned your name to school checks?
No, sir.
At that interview, did you misrepresent that you required or permitted Lauren Hopkins to approve purchase requests or other types of requests that Ms. Ross was required to approve as a principal?
No, sir.
At that interview, Ms. Ross represented the fact that she never gave Ms. Hopkins her computer password to access Edufora. Did you misrepresent the fact that
No,
you
sir.
never gave her permission? At that interview, Ms. Ross, did you misrepresent the fact that you never told Ms. Hopkins that Ms. Hopkins could sign names to school checks, sign your name to school checks?
No, sir.
At that interview, did you misrepresent facts that you stated that she never had Ms. Hopkins run any personal errands for Ms. Ross during school working hours? Did you misrepresent that fact?
No, sir.
At that interview, Ms. Ross misrepresented the fact that she stated she would comply with the policies and procedures that are required for her relating to receiving, keeping, and spending campus activity funds. Did you misrepresent that?
No, sir.
At that interview, Ms. Ross misrepresented the facts when she stated she followed the process required of her for purchasing items for the school. Did you misrepresent the facts on that case?
No, sir.
At that interview, did you misrepresent the fact that you stated that all the work was done on private film concerning Neville Shedd being made by a production company in which she was a partner was done after hours? Did you misrepresent that fact?
No, sir.
At that interview, Ms. Ross misrepresented facts when she minimized her role in charging students to attend pep rallies. Did you misrepresent that fact?
No, sir.
Have you ever directly collected money or had anything to do with depositing money related to any pep rallies or events?
No, sir.
When you authorize an event, how do you come to authorize it?
If a coach comes to me and asks if they could have a pep rally and I feel like it's a perfect fit for the sport or whatever, I normally agree to it if it's going to help benefit the children.
With all the activities that you have professionally, what time do you have to even consider putting on pep rallies or anything that isn't instructional?
I don't have the time because most of the time I'm in the classroom. If you would check my records, I should have 100+ walkthroughs before the Christmas holidays, and normally by the end of the school year I have over 300+, and all of my teachers have been evaluated. I just didn't get to do the summative because I was on administrative leave.
Okay. And when you say walkthroughs, would you explain to us lay people what that means?
A campus walkthrough is when you go in and as the lead principal, we value our prowess at being instructional leaders, so we go in and monitor instruction. We look for alignment. We look for rigor. We look for children and student engagement. We look for teacher knowledge. So there's a lot of things that are required of a campus principal during the day.
Okay. And to do that, you have to visit the classrooms on a regular basis?
Quite often.
Okay. And how long do you stay?
Anywhere between 20 and 30 minutes. And then we're only required to be there 10, 15 minutes.
Okay. At the interview, Ms. Ross misrepresented the fact she stated students were not charged to watch movies during the day. Did you misrepresent that fact?
No, I did not.
Okay. Tell us about movies during the school day.
I can recall maybe one movie in the 6 years I've been at Metzger Middle School, and it was held during Black History Month, and it was the movie about Glory Road, Mr. Shedd. So the Black History coordinator came to me and asked Ms. Ross, do you mind if we show a movie during Black History Month? We had to check with the librarian to see which movie was acceptable, and Glory Road was approved, and that's the one movie that I can think of. It's not like I was showing movies every day of the week.
Okay. At that interview, Ms. Ross misrepresented the fact that she minimized her role in charging students for temporary IDs. Did you misrepresent that fact?
No, sir, I did not.
Okay. Talk to me about the mechanics of a student buying an ID, getting a replacement ID or a temporary student ID. What does he have to do?
When the children come in first thing in the morning, they're required to go to the cafeteria, and we have several teachers. We have different duty assignments, and the teachers either issue the children a temporary ID, or the children bring money to school to purchase a new ID, which is $5. They just started that this year. The student service is charging the children for a temporary ID, which was $1, and most of the time the children didn't have $1, so we just put it on credit.
But during the day, you're not monitoring who's paying fines or?
Oh, no,
whatever.
not at all.
You're doing walkthroughs and you're worrying about the instructional?
Most of my time was spent in the classrooms. When anyone would come to visit my campus, they would never find me in my office. I was always in the classrooms or in the cafeteria during lunches.
Ms. Ross misrepresented the fact that she minimized her role in charging super temporary IDs. At that interview, Ms. Ross misrepresented the facts, and she stated that she told Marilyn Dixon to discontinue the practice of charging for composition books so the purchase for students out of Title I of district funds. Did you misrepresent that fact?
No, sir, I did not.
Okay. At that interview, Ms. Ross misrepresented the fact she said she never let someone who is not employed. I'm sorry. At that interview, Ms. Ross misrepresented the facts when she stated that she never let someone who was not an employee of the district get a key to any district facility. Did you misrepresent that fact?
No, sir, I did not.
At that interview, Ms. Ross misrepresented the fact that she never used or possessed alcohol on campus. Did you misrepresent that fact?
No, sir, I did not.
In essence, Ms. Ross, in essence, created a petty cash fund returned to her pot, unto which she placed funds obtained by students participating in events of purchasing items that they should not have been charged for, and using those funds without following procedures for doing so. Did you misrepresent that fact?
No, sir.
Did you have a petty cash fund?
No, sir, I did not.
Did you have a pot?
No, sir.
Did you have a principal's administrative fund?
I do have a principal's administrative fund.
Ms. Ross permitted students to participate on-campus Bible study without following district policies for allowing non-curricular related student use of school premises, failed to obtain a criminal history check on adult male who was regularly held on Bible study, and communicated to staff that students were late for the first period class not to be marked tardy. Did anybody ask you about him particularly when you were interviewed?
No, sir.
Okay. So when they asked you, was somebody should all volunteers be, they did not identify Mr. Coker?
No, sir, they did not.
Right. So Ms. Ross required, permitted, authorized, and condoned the use of computer password and access computer software applications by Chanel Gomez and Lauren Hopkins that had them do online tasks that was her obligation and responsibility to do herself. Did you permit, authorize, or condone the use of your computer or password to access computer software applications by Chanel Gomez and Lauren Hopkins and had them do online tasks that were her obligation and responsibility to do yourself?
No, sir. Ms. Gomez had her own password, and she was the second in charge as the assistant principal.
Okay. And did you, when there was some conversation about Ms. Stevens calling you, did Ms. Stevens recommend that you turn more of the duties over to your assistant principal?
Yes, sir, she did.
And did you?
Yes, sir. Ms. Gomez was second in charge, and she had access to quite a few things.
Okay. Ms. Ross required, permitted, authorized, or condoned the use of Ms. Hopkins to sign Ms. Ross's name on school checks. Did you require, permit, authorize, or condone the practice of Ms. Ross signing your name on school checks?
No, sir, I did not.
Ms. Ross possessed and used alcohol beverages while on campus. Have you ever possessed and used alcohol beverages while on campus?
No, sir, I did not.
Ms. Ross permitted work to be done during working hours on an unauthorized private video or film project where she had a production interest, and permitted filming of students in connection with that project to be done during the school day without permission of the parents who were being filmed. Did you have authorization to do that?
Yes, back in 2014, 2015, we got a clearance for all the children that were going to be a part of what we were showcasing as far as the Metzgers. Since we were having all the visits from the campuses, we decided we were going to put together a video to showcase some of the things that we were doing on campus.
Did you get authorization from anyone in the district to do that?
From the former superintendent and associate superintendent at the time.
Okay, and would you name them?
Former superintendent Dr. Willis Mackey and former associate superintendent Nancy Robinson.
Now, I'm going to request that be stricken. That's clearly hearsay.
Wait a minute, now all of a sudden we're following the rules? Wait a minute, just a minute. We've had 15 objections on that. And I told you before, Mr. Seiler, that is not my problem.
Well, it's my problem that we have to conduct the hearings in a timely manner, efficiently, and I could have, set standards way ago, but I went a long way here, as most of you are supposed to have 2 hours only, we're about a 6 hour.
Okay.
Okay, so if you want me to go down this route, I'll limit the questions and we'll move on, sir.
Right, the applications coordinator, Deborah Stevens, told Laura Hopkins to stop processing forms that were did you fail to properly oversee and account for the collection, depositing, or use of campus activity funds?
No, I did not.
After the applications coordinator, Deborah Stevens, told Laura Hopkins to stop processing forms that were Ms. Ross's responsibility to complete and process, Ms. Ross told Ms. Stevens that it took too much time away from her daily duties to process the forms, and that Ms. Ross knew the right people to call. I don't know if that's a charge, but did you ever tell her you knew the right people to call?
No, sir, because I appointed those assignments to my assistant principals.
All right. Ms. Ross had campus staff members run personal errands on her behalf during working hours. Did you have campus staff members run personal errands for you during working hours?
If you consider personnel, or my secretary said, Ms. Ross, I'm going to run off campus and take a break.
Just take your time.
If you would say personal errands, if my secretary would take a break, or one of my teachers would come on their conference and say, Ms. Ross, I'm going to run to HEB, would you like for me to pick up you a salad? I would say, yeah, sure, bring me one back. But just to up and say, can you go to the bank or whatever? No, I just used it, when people would come to me on their conference, I just kind of took advantage of them while they're out, because they asked me if they would come to me and ask me.
To your knowledge, were all funds accounted for even after you left? At the time that you left, to your satisfaction, were all monies accounted for?
Yes, sir.
I pass the witness.
Thank you.
I just have a few questions.
Yes, sir.
Ms. Ross, you indicated you had a principal's administrative fund. Was that used in a manner that was permitted by the rules of the campus activity manual?
If we had a question, Mr. Russo, of how the funds should be spent.
Excuse me, I'll play the same game. I think that's a yes or no question. I would like to have a yes or no answer.
Okay, can you repeat it then?
Yes, ma'am. The principal's administration fund, was that used in a manner that was permitted by the activities fund manual that you were trained in?
Once my secretary got approval from district office that we could use it in that manner, certainly. If I had any questions, I would ask them.
Simply because a principal has had academic recognition and has created programs that are good for students, do you believe that exempts that principal from complying with the rules and the procedures and the policies for properly handling student activity and campus activity funds?
I don't really feel that I've misrepresented anything.
That's not my question.
Okay, repeat it
Do
then.
you think simply because a principal has achieved academic recognition for a campus or has initiated programs that are good for students, that excuses the principal from following the policies and procedures of the district involving the use of campus activity funds?
If you're asking me, did I not use the campus activity funds appropriately, I would like to say yes,
No,
sir, I
ma'am,
did.
that's not my question.
Okay.
It's a very simple question.
Okay.
Do you believe that a principal who achieves academic recognition for her campus and has innovative programs from students is excused from having to follow the rules and the requirements, the procedures, and the policies that the district has for the proper handling of campus activity funds?
It just, it depends on which policy you said the principal broke.
The policies that have to do with the campus activity funds, do you think a principal is excused from having to follow those simply because their campus has been recognized academically, or the principal has had programs that are designed to help students?
Personally, I felt like I did follow the policies.
That's not the question. The question is, do you believe a principal is excused from following policies involving campus activity funds simply because they have academic recognition for their campus?
No, sir.
You've gone over a lot of the things, I think it's Exhibit D, the list of professional accomplishments since you were hired.
Yes,
There have
sir.
been some things that happened during the course of your employment with the district that haven't been so good, haven't they?
Oh, certainly, yes.
For
I'm human.
example, in November of 2002, there was a memorandum in your personnel file from Clarence Alberts directing you not to have paraprofessionals handle parent requests to sign placement waivers to JSAS. Is that correct?
Say that again?
Yes, ma'am. In your personnel file, there is a memorandum from Clarence Alberts, the Director of Pupil Services, directing you not to have paraprofessionals handle parent complaints to sign placement waivers to JSAS. Do you recall that?
What sort of placement waivers?
Any waivers for JSAS? Do you remember that, having that as a memorandum in your
I'm just going to
personnel
say
file?
that from 2012 on back, all of that stuff has been cleared.
Well, ma'am, I'll tell you what, you've listed all your accomplishments
Yes,
in the
sir.
very beginning, so let's go over some of the things that maybe not be accomplishments.
Well, as a campus leader, we do grow over time.
And you received in 2003 a letter of reprimand from Clarence Alberts for failure to ensure that student physicals are in the student file, failure to follow intake directives clearly communicated, failure to follow doctor restrictions for student activity at campus, failure to comply with decision by administration to place student at alternative campus.
And that's at the boot camp?
It's a letter of reprimand from Clarence Albert. Were you at the boot camp in 2003?
Yes, sir.
In March of 2004, there was a formal reprimand from Charlie Newmeyer, Associate Superintendent for Instruction, for inappropriate statements to staff during meetings where you stated central office didn't have any cojones, and they should just get out of the way and let you do your job.
I don't recall saying
You
that.
don't recall that
No, sir.
reprimand? In March of 2004, you were placed on administrative leave by Dr. Constanzo, pending an investigation to allegations that you directed that a student's eyebrows be shaved off by a boot camp drill instructor. Is that true?
The drill instructor did that on his own accord, but I was the principal at the
You're
time.
pretty much not responsible for anything that happens on your campus. Is that right?
That's not true.
There was a letter in 2004 from Dr. Constanzo informing you that he was recommending that your contract not be extended for the following reasons: inability to interact collegiately with employees at the secondary alternative school, as evidenced by several grievances and an EEOC complaint, ongoing investigation involving an incident with a student, as well as another incident that involved you and the JISD Police Department.
Well, I guess
Remember
you
to
could
get that letter?
probably, I guess you can probably contribute that to all the turnover at the alternative school. That should be a red flag, right? All the principals that have come in and out of the alternative school.
In May of 2004, you received a letter of reprimand from Clarence Alberts, still the Director of Pupil Services, for failure to protect the safety, health, and welfare of students, directing a drill instructor to shave off a student's eyebrows, failure to notify parents either before or after the eyebrow shaving, failure to notify Director of Pupil Services of her actions, failure to follow handbook rules, failure to exhibit professional conduct when addressing students, failure to demonstrate appropriate demeanor with parent and student. You recall getting a reprimand about those issues?
Actually, no, sir, I don't. I do remember the eyebrow incident, and again, like I said earlier, the drill instructor took it up on himself to cut the student's eyebrow because it was notched and that was in the student code of conduct, that it should not be notched. And the parents, when their children enroll into the boot camp, they sign a waiver of release of how their children are going to be dealt with.
And still, you were reprimanded for that, as
I
as
don't,
indicated in the
yeah,
personal
because I
file.
was the campus principal at the time.
In November of 2010, you were issued a letter of reprimand for concerns brought to Ms. Barra, your immediate supervisor, for the following: instructional management, organizational morale, and management of administrative, fiscal, and facilities functions. Do you recall that letter of reprimand?
I recall that was my first year at Metzger Middle School in 2010, and of course, the new principal is not going to probably be liked by anybody.
In November of 2010, there was a conference with Ms. Barra concerning a number of issues. Another one on January of 2011. There was on June of 2011, an email directive regarding SSI applications for referencing leadership and management skills. In August of 2011, you were placed on a growth plan. In August of 2011, you were issued a reprimand regarding certain training. On February of 2012, you were placed on administrative leave as principal of Metzger pending investigation of failure to comply with district procedures and policy, falsification of records, misappropriation of funds. In February of 2012, you were issued a letter of reprimand.
Can I address the 20, whatever you're saying? Do you
Well,
want me to address, or you just want them to hear that?
You were placed on administrative leave, and I'll let your representative ask you whatever questions he wants
Okay,
to try to address that.
okay.
But in February 2012, you were issued a letter of reprimand for a number of reasons, including failure to notify district of campus program changes and hiring additional staff under deceptive practices, misappropriation of federal funds. In March of 2012, you entered an agreement to accept the superintendent's offer to return you to a probationary contract. You recall that?
And I was off the probationary contract, and I was ill when one of the counselors decided to place a group of children in a different program, and she placed them in their own program. And again, since I am the campus leader, I had to take the hit on that.
In November 2013, you received a memorandum of unprofessional conduct issued by Dr. Black. You remember that?
No, sir.
In April of 2014, there was an investigation into your using inappropriate language towards students. And the investigation concluded that you used informal language when disciplining students. You recall that?
No, sir.
Do you recall being placed on a growth plan for the period of July 21, 2014 through June 23, 2015 by Ms. Grady?
Yes, I do. And I fulfilled it.
Pass the witness.
Were you you were the head of the alternative school?
Yes, sir, I was.
And what is the alternative school?
The Justin Secondary Alternative School is a campus that houses children that have been sent there for various violations of student code of conduct.
When you say student code of conduct, what kind of things are you talking about?
It ranges from anywhere from persistent misbehavior to drugs, alcohol, insubordination.
Right. And you have a code of conduct that even talks about eyebrows?
Yes, it's in the code of conduct that children cannot wear notched or chopped eyebrows.
Is that some sort of gang sign?
Yes, sir. That they attribute it to gang affiliation. That's why we require children, and that's in the policy even today, that the children cannot have notched eyebrows.
And who would actually do the actual shaving?
The drill instructors.
You never shaved anybody's eyebrows?
No, sir. No, sir.
You
And
never
the
ordered
parent,
his
no, sir.
eyebrows
And the
shaved?
parent signed a waiver for the drill instructors to do a variety of various things in the program. You have to, because it's a very rigorous program.
when you're using formal language with the students, what was that about?
Mr. Conley, that was so many years ago, I don't recall.
Okay.
Whatever it was, I corrected it.
And what is the current status of the alternative school now? Who is there now?
I don't know. They're going on like their 4th or 5th principal there.
How long were you there?
I want to say 2 years.
And when you were on the growth plan, what is that?
There's some areas of need that you need to improve upon.
Was fiscal responsibility part of any of the growth plans?
No.
Were all the growth plans really on, tell me, were they basically on institutional and instructional growth? Or is it more leadership issues?
I think the one back from Mr. I don't think I was on one with Mr. Alberts. There's no telling. The one from Miss Barrett and Miss Grady. I think Ms. Barris was more in academics and instruction, but you have to understand, I took over the campus when it was a struggling campus, so that was my very first year, so I could have easily been mentored like I was with the former associate superintendent to come in to work with me on instruction instead of being so punitive in all of my actions.
Okay. And why do you think the district has come after you with this non-renewal at this point?
Yeah, I'm going to object. What she might speculate the reasons is really not relevant. The reasons have been spelled out. She can talk about and whatever she has to offer in terms of why those reasons may not be applicable. But for her to speculate it's about reasons of what might be behind what has been set out by the notices, I think it's totally inappropriate and irrelevant.
I have to agree with that, Judge. I mean,
Wait.
it's sustained.
Wait a minute. You're saying that this is the same unit that told me that we're going to hear, things.
It's spelled out in the complaint,
Okay.
right?
Well,
It's
then-
spelled out,
all
correct?
right, fine, fine.
Okay?
Miss,
And that's conjecture.
oh, that's over there. Miss Ross, why do you think the Human Resources Officer Hernandez and Associate Superintendent Belinda believed that you misrepresented facts when you stated that you did not know prior to February 23rd, that someone else had signed her name to checks?
I'm going to object. It calls for rank speculation of what might be in the minds of some persons that she would have no idea what they might be thinking. It calls for speculation.
Sustain.
I would object to it.
The state of mind is always proper.
Not
State of mind is
sustained, sir.
always proper.
Mr. Conley, do you
It's
mind if I
hearsay.
just say this?
I'm going to object for her to
Object.
just
She
making
can't-
a statement.
No, ma'am, you can't answer that unless,
Okay.
Judge, go ahead, sir.
Do you what information do you have why Ms. Hernandez and Ms. Barra decided you misrepresented facts when you stated you never required a permitted LAR?
I think this is
Same
rebuttal,
objection.
sir.
I would ask at this point, the amount of time has been given has
I
been
know.
incredible, generous. He's gotten a lot more time in his cross-examination than I've had on my direct examination.
Yes, sir, I agree.
He's still got 2 more witnesses that he wants to call. I would ask that the board president move on and ask him to call his next witness.
I agree, sir. We got to move on. It's 20
I
to
just
6.
have one more question.
And one more question. You got 3 minutes,
Okay.
then we're moving on.
Was the fact that you're a black, older woman a factor in what has happened to you in this matter?
I'm going to object to that.
I believe so.
Your
Thank
objection
Can
noted.
we-
Thank
I
you.
would like to have that stricken.
Yes, sir.
Her belief doesn't make any difference, and it's not relevant to anything before this tribunal.
Yes, sir.
I mean, her professional competency and inefficiency is an element here, and what she thinks
you
is
have-
obviously important.
Okay. Does the board have any questions for Ms. Ross? No. I have a couple questions, Ms. Ross. just for clarification on everything that went on today.
Yes, sir.
Do you know what other schools at Judson charge students for Title I supplies, pep rallies, movies, dances, and replacement IDs? What other schools and the principal at those schools, ma'am?
It's a practice for the replacement IDs all across the district. It's $5. It's the charge that Mr. Elizondo gave all the middle schools.
Which schools?
Every middle school.
Every middle school.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
How about charging for Title I supplies? What other school does that?
I don't know of any other schools, and it was a very rare occasion when I
Okay,
did that.
and charging for pep rallies, ma'am? Any other schools charge for pep rallies?
You'll
that
have
you-
to ask the coaches because the sponsors were the ones that put the pep rallies
So
on.
you have no, okay.
No, sir.
And movies, you know of any other school charge for movies?
I'm not sure, sir. It was only one occasion for us.
Okay. Got a question on accounting.
Yes, sir.
Who is responsible for the principal education fund accounting at your school?
My secretary.
Your
She's
secretary?
the bookkeeper. Yes, sir.
Okay. Why did you do the PTO accounting different from all the other schools?
I didn't.
Well, I mean, it's your school. I
I
mean,
understand
the
that, yes.
PTO
Yes.
accounting was different at your school than any other school. Your principal's education fund took the money in, where every other PTO in the school, by policy, has to have their own PTO account, because PTOs are a separate entity from Judson ISD.
Yes, sir.
Why did you-
We didn't have a separate accounting. Remember, Ms. Butler said she went to Lauren to get they had an account at Randolph Brooks, and she went to go to open the account, and they wouldn't let her open unless she brought a letter from Lauren. So our practice was in line with everybody else was doing.
Mm-hmm.
It just happened when Ms. Butler went to go try to open the account when Ms. Hopkins didn't give her the letter. I
So-
didn't know she didn't get a
So
letter
in other
from Ms.
words, there was no PTO account that you know of?
Yes, I do, sir. At the bank with the prior PTO president.
Where is the ledger for that account?
You have to ask Ms. Hopkins, sir, and ask the former PTO president.
Okay. One
Ms.
last
Wilden.
question.
Ms. Wilden's her name.
Would you agree, and it's by Texas Education Code, that the principal is responsible for everything that happens on their campus?
Yes, sir, I do.
Okay.
I agree.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Sellier, I have a couple of questions as well. Thank you. Ms. Ross, were you offered the opportunity for resignation?
No, sir. Yes, sir, I was.
You were
In
offered?
the letter. In the
Okay.
letter.
And then, in one of the testimonies, it was stated that there was a large amount of cash in the office where your secretary's name, what is her name again?
Lauren Hopkins.
Lauren Hopkins pulled out money for the PTO president. Were you aware of large amounts of cash in your facility?
No, sir. I just know that we had the fall festival. After the fall festival, I thought they had already reconciled with all the vendors.
And just for clarification, I know you answered this question for Mr. Sellier, but I just wanted to make sure I heard this correctly. You do not reconcile the PTO fund accounts or the principal accounts?
I don't. Miss Hopkins is she's a former employee of a bank. She worked in accounting with Mr. Elizondo's office. That's her background. That's why I hired
And my
her.
understanding is with Mr. Elizondo's testimony that there should always be two signatures on a check. And
Yes, sir.
so if that's the case, you would have to be aware because you would be the one signing the
Yes, sir.
the second
Yes.
signature.
Yes, sir.
Is that correct? So in some way, you should have an understanding of the scope of what's being spent,
Right.
correct?
Yes, sir.
But you don't reconcile them. So-
I don't reconcile until the end of the year when they come and do the audit.
Okay. That's all I have for now. Thank you.
That's it, thank you. Next witness, Mr. Russo, anything, anyone? Good? You want to take a break? Let's take a 10-minute break.